things just got very, very interesting for the Baltimore Ravens. Now, these things didn't just come about, it has happened all of this offseason. The 2025 season for the Baltimore Ravens is going to be a very pivotal one. This is the year that the Ravens have to win the Super Bowl. And I said the exact same thing before the start of last year. Some of the things came true, some of the things didn't. We didn't get to where we needed to be, but this season, right here, right now, is going to be the season that the Baltimore Ravens are going to have to go all in to win a Super Bowl. Now, there are different trains of thoughts as to how the Ravens are going to do this, if they need to draft more defense, if they need to invest more in the offense. Whichever way you want to go, it really does not matter. The Ravens need to do what they have to do to get to a Super Bowl after the 2025 season. And the reason that I say this is because each and every season, your NFL roster is going to be different. I don't care what team you have, that locker room is not going to be the same from year to year. With being a successful franchise, you have players, coaches that move on, go to other organizations that want to become winners, so they bring in winners themselves. And the Baltimore Ravens, as a franchise, is a winning, stable franchise. Baltimore is entering its 30th NFL season and have been one of the more stable, successful franchises over that 30-year span. And in the last 29 seasons, the Ravens have only had 8 losing seasons. So that means they've had 21 winning seasons compared to 8 losing seasons. And over the last 10, they are 8-2. The last one that we've actually had, in the only one in the Lamar Jackson era, that being the 21 season when Lamar Jackson got hurt. Lamar went down in week 12 against the Cleveland Browns. Because he started that game, he got the loss. You can't tell me with the schedule that the Ravens had that Lamar Jackson couldn't have gotten them to at least a 9-8 record, meaning we would have only had 1 losing season over a 10-year period. And like I said, being a successful franchise, teams start to poach. They get your coaches, they get your players, they want to adopt certain things so that they can become winners themselves. And this is why this season is so extremely important for the Baltimore Ravens. After this season, they have a lot of roster moves to make. And to me, some of these moves should have already been made. The Ravens like to have a wait-and-see approach where they like to feel out what their players are going to do before they offer them long-term deals. And I understand you want to make sure that your players are productive, that they're good for the team, that they're progressing each and every season before you give them a big contract. But then sometimes you paint yourself into a corner, especially when you wait around to see. So after this season, the Ravens have a lot of contracts that they need to dive into, a lot of roster moves that they need to make. The Ravens have a few positional needs and roster spots that they need to fill this season. But after next season, it's going to be a little more complex with the salary cap. We don't know how much is going to go up, but we do know which salaries are coming up and which salaries are going to escalate. First, you have, what are we going to do with Derrick Henry? Should the Ravens try and draft his replacement just in case they can't get an extension done and bring him back next season? And if Derrick Henry is finally starting to slow down, you have to bring in his replacement now. You don't want to have to bring in his replacement during that time. Now, the running back market has been conflated because of the Saquon Barkley deal. After 1 year, they gave Saquon Barkley a substantial raise, and they should have. He was the catalyst to them winning their second Super Bowl. So he deserves all the money that he gets as the best back in the league. But Derrick Henry was not that far behind him. Both guys signed their deals before the start of last season, with Saquon already getting a raise. And with what Derrick Henry did, a lot of people didn't expect it. He deserves a raise as well. But the Ravens right now don't have the money to give him an extension to lower his cap hit to keep him in a Baltimore Ravens uniform for longer than this season. So what are they going to do with him? Then on top of that, the Lamar Jackson situation. Lamar Jackson's cap hit next season jumps up to $74 million. And you have to think, even if the salary cap jumps up to $300 million, that $74 million cap hit is going to take a lot of money out of it. Then you add into the fact that Tyler Linderbaum, if he gets his 5th-year option, that's $23 million off the board. If you give Kyle Hamilton his 5th-year option, that's another 18 off the board. So that's over $100 and something million that you're investing in cap hits to 3 guys, where you have other needs and where you're possibly going to have to replace some guys that may leave in free agency. What are the Ravens going to do with Kyle Van Noy? He's getting a little bit older. Can he continue to get career highs in sacks each and every season at his advanced age? Odafe Owe had a 10-sack season last year. He's on his 5th-year option. Do you give him an extension? So those are 2 possible positions that we have to fill. And if you think about this season, we have to fill the position with Michael Pierce retiring. Travis Jones is in the last year of his deal. What are you going to do about him next year? Are you going to give him a new contract? Are you going to let him walk and then have to replace two guys? Now, the Ravens can fill these needs during the NFL draft, but we just don't know what their production is going to be. We don't even know what players are going to be available right now at this time. We know the needs that we have now. We know that the holes that may have to be filled next season. Not to mention, what are we going to do at inside linebacker next to Roquan Smith? The Ravens lost Chris Board, they lost Malik Harrison, and we don't know if Trenton Simpson is ready for prime time. So there are needs this year, and there are going to be needs for next season that the Ravens are going to have to fill, and a lot of money tied up into a few key pieces. Now, all three of those guys can sign extensions and lower their cap hits, but what are the Ravens going to do? Then you add into the mix the Arizona Cardinals re-signing tight end Trey McBride, making him the highest paid tight end in the NFL. We have issues ourselves because all three tight ends on the Ravens roster, being Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, and Charlie Kolar, are on the last year of their deals with the Ravens. Are you going to re-sign Mark Andrews? Are you going to give him an extension this year? Are you going to make Isaiah Likely tight end number one? What are you going to do with Charlie Kolar? So now, what is seen as a position of strength for the Baltimore Ravens next season could be in flux. And this is the reason I don't like for the Ravens to have that wait and see approach. If you feel you have the player on your team and you feel he's valuable and you feel that he's ascending, you give him that money because it's going to end up being cheaper in the long run anyway. If the Ravens do wait until next season to sign or re-sign some of these players, you don't know who else is going to get a new deal. If you wait for more safeties to get signed and that price goes up and up, what are you going to pay Kyle Hamilton? The Ravens have had a couple of issues with the center position. What are you going to do about Tyler Linderbaum? And we cannot let go of these three tight ends. You don't know what tight end is up for an extension. You don't know who's in contract talks. So why wait and see for them to get paid and just up and up and up the price? Now, we all know that Lamar Jackson eventually this year or next year is going to get a contract extension to lower his cap hit. Let's not wait too long before other quarterbacks get signed and raise the bar even higher, because I do believe Lamar Jackson may get somewhere between 65 to 70 million per year on his extension. And while that is a large number, they can restructure it in a way that it lowers the cap hit and gives them a little more playing room with the money. But still, the Ravens have a lot of key pieces that they need to delve into. And now that I think about it, even to a lesser extent, what are you going to do with Daniel Faalele? You believe that he's the starting right guard. You believe he is the right guard for this team. Are you going to pay him? And what is his number going to be? Now, he's not going to make top tier money. He's not going to make top offensive lineman money, but you do have to give him a considered raise, being that he is a starter in the NFL. So the Ravens have a lot of roster moves that they have to juggle with right now. They have a lot to do going into the draft, and some of these draft picks aren't going to be for right now. Some of them have to be for the future, and you have to look down the line and see what the Ravens are possibly going to need going into the future. So for me, this is the season the Ravens have to get it done, because we don't know what the future is going to look like. And it's not going to be an easy season where they're going to just blow through the regular season like they normally do. The Ravens have a pretty tough schedule this year. We do get revenge games versus the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs, because we owe each of those teams for our last two playoff exits. Not to mention our rival games with the Cincinnati Bengals. Yes, they have no defense, but they can score. Tough games versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Lamar has kicked that narrative that he can't beat them, so I am not too worried about what the Steelers have going on, but they have beaten us in the past with second and third string quarterbacks. Cleveland Browns, not a concern whatsoever, even though they do win here or there, but the Ravens do have some tough games outside of the division when it comes to them repeating for the third time as AFC North champs. Outside of the divisional games, the Ravens play the NFC North. They have the Vikes, the Packers, and the Lions. Not to mention they have Los Angeles, who has new weapon Devontae Adams. So the Ravens have a very tough season ahead of them, but I think if they can get through it and win these games, it will kind of toughen them up for the postseason. So to me, the Ravens have to get it done this year. This has to be the year that Lamar Jackson, the Baltimore Ravens, finally break through and get that Super Bowl, because the future is just so uncertain.